重庆然后那个相亲市场那个男女比率哈，现在都变成了1:9啊。
The current matchmaking market in Chongqing is truly thought-provoking. The gender ratio has become 1 to 9, meaning 9 girls are competing for one guy. This situation looks quite grim. Clearly, it is a male-dominated situation, and women could theoretically choose from many men. However, in reality, the competition among women has become extremely fierce. On the other hand, the men seem very clear-headed, and not many are willing to get married. What is the reason behind this? Have they awakened, and no longer impulsively rush into marriage like in the past? Or perhaps it is because many women have consumed too much poisonous chicken soup for the soul, and some have begun to view men as nothing more than ATMs, turning marriage into a transaction? Many women now think that material security is the most important factor in marriage. They believe that a man without money cannot provide them with a sense of security, which is why marriage is often filled with ritual and financial support. However, marriage should be about mutual effort and cooperation, not one-sided sacrifice. Especially for men, who after marriage not only face high risks but also have to constantly provide emotional value. They work hard during the day, and then come home at night to continue working. Who can bear this kind of pressure? Some women even think, am I not as important as money? But in reality, many men think, I can live without a woman, but I can't live without money. Because if a man doesn't have money, you high-demand women wouldn't even look at him. All the things women ask for, security, rituals, don't they all cost money? What women say is love, but behind it, the hidden message is, if you don't have money, how can I feel secure marrying you? In fact, many men don't reject marriage or relationships. They simply don't want to be the fool who gives everything, but receives neither respect nor return.
前几天我们去天河公园走了一趟，
A few days ago, we took a trip to Tianhe Park in Guangzhou, and the experience at the matchmaking corner really left a deep impression on me. The scene there truly shocked me, because most of the people present were parents bringing their children to find a partner for them. As soon as we entered the park, the first thing we saw were mostly women with excellent conditions, including some highly educated women, some even holding master's or doctoral degrees, and many were returnees from overseas. Seeing all this, I couldn't help but feel that the matchmaking market today is so competitive. It really surprised me. What was even more shocking was that the gender ratio at the Tianhe Park matchmaking corner had reached 1 to 9, meaning that 1 man corresponds to 9 women. Under such circumstances, the competition became even more intense, and the women's choices became much more complicated. At that time, I encountered the situation of a 38-year-old female returnee with a PhD, which really opened my eyes. At the park's matchmaking corner, an auntie took the initiative to introduce her son to her. The auntie told her that her son was in very good condition, just like this PhD returnee, with a high level of education and cultural literacy. The only downside was that he was a little short, but aside from that, there were almost no issues. I went over with the PhD returnee to meet the man. He was really polite, and his culture and manner of speaking were very impressive. However, the auntie also pointed out one thing, which was that her son was already a bit older, born in 1982, which was indeed a major disadvantage at his age. Moreover, this man was not tall, standing at only 1.67 meters. In the end, because of his height, the PhD returnee rejected the man. Afterwards, the man left with several other women's profiles in hand. The biggest takeaway from my experience at the matchmaking corner in the park was that, whether for men or women, it's really important to find the right person as early as possible. Because at this age, many people's standards and requirements for marriage become much more practical, and the desire for marriage becomes more urgent. After all, when you reach the right age for marriage, many people want to find the right person quickly and enter into marriage. I would also suggest to these older women that they really shouldn't idealize their partners too much, because the competition among women today is just too fierce.
很奇怪啊，现在男人比女人多了整整3097万。
It's quite strange that, although the male population in China now exceeds the female population by 30.97 million, in the marriage market in Hangzhou, men have become a scarce resource. According to membership registration statistics from the local matchmaking market, the male-to-female ratio in Hangzhou's matchmaking scene has reached an astonishing 1 to 40, which clearly reflects the shortage of men in the market. Today, I am observing this phenomenon at a matchmaking venue in Wansong Academy, Hangzhou, and the data here confirms this observation. There are significantly more women than men. All signs point to one conclusion: the number of men who want to get married is decreasing, while the demand for them far exceeds the supply. Behind this phenomenon, there are some painful reasons. Although, on the whole, the male population in China is larger than the female population, the vast majority of men do not meet the standards set by women and are therefore excluded from the dating pool. Today's women have increasingly higher standards for choosing a partner, which usually include owning a house, a car, a stable income, having a stable job, decent looks, appropriate height, and the ability to provide emotional support. These requirements significantly limit the number of men who are eligible. For men, the entry barriers into the matchmaking market are indeed high, as women set requirements for height, education, job, income, and family background. However, for women, the entry barriers in the matchmaking market seem to be relatively lower. A young, beautiful woman is often highly sought after by many men, and this unequal competition has caused many excellent women to face the awkward situation of being unable to find a satisfactory man, no matter how hard they try. In addition, in the current social environment, women's views on marriage are heavily influenced by capital and public opinion. Many still maintain the better to remain single than settle mindset, which further exacerbates the imbalance in the marriage market. From the men's perspective, they face more pressure and dilemmas. Not only can they not find the right woman, but they also cannot meet women's expectations, and they may not have enough economic resources to bear the responsibilities of marriage. In such circumstances, many men simply choose to lie flat, giving up on pursuing marriage and turning to other pursuits like gaming or career building, avoiding the pressures that marriage brings. Some even feel that it is easier to stay single or lead a carefree life rather than enter into marriage. Fundamentally, this situation reflects the unequal reality between men and women caused by outdated views. The mistaken belief that men must buy a house, a car, and even bear the high cost of the bride price is what has created such an awkward situation in the matchmaking market.
哥，我很负责地告诉你，相亲市场压根儿就没有帅哥。
You older single women still think you can find a handsome guy in the matchmaking market? I'm telling you very responsibly, there are no handsome guys in the matchmaking market at all. Do you think I'm handsome? Honestly speaking, among the crowd, I'd rate myself around 3 to 4 out of 10 in terms of appearance. But if you put me in the matchmaking market, I can confidently say that I would absolutely rank in the top tier. No less than what my mom thinks of me. In the matchmaking market, women generally have higher looks than men. So do you know how the men's conditions are in the matchmaking market here in Wuhan? Basically, men who are financially stable, like having a car, a house, and earning over 10,000 yuan a month, are already considered the basic threshold. But beyond that, most of the other requirements that older single women have tend to have various shortcomings, especially in terms of height and appearance, where the gaps are particularly obvious. That's why a lot of people online keep brainwashing women, telling you, the average height of Chinese men is less than 1.7 meters, so looks aren't really important when choosing a marriage partner. Do you think that's true? Actually, it's not. The reason is simple. If they don't say this, those matchmaking agencies will really struggle to find partners for the men. Handsome men aren't non-existent, but the issue is if you're a good-looking guy with a decent financial background, then the added effect of having both good financial conditions and good looks is 1 + 1 greater than 4, or even greater than 5. Those so-called rich and handsome men are basically the hot cakes in the matchmaking market. Naturally, their requirements for a partner are very picky. If your conditions don't meet their minimum standards, they won't even look at older single women like you. Don't even talk about the genuinely good-looking guys rated 6 or 7 out of 10. Just a guy who is a 5 out of 10 can already be considered a highly sought-after catch in the matchmaking market. So if older single women are particularly focused on looks when looking for a partner, I suggest you just don't bother with the matchmaking market, because you'll be sorely disappointed. Will tall, handsome, and wealthy men be interested in older single women? Of course, they'll be looking for younger and more beautiful women. Why can't you all understand this obvious truth?
Now I finally understand why more and more people are unwilling to go on blind dates, because people in modern society have become too impetuous. Everyone's mindset has become restless, and they no longer see love as something to be cultivated slowly, but as a fast food culture, like fast food. Nowadays, Love no longer has the kind of long-lasting commitment that was symbolized by holding hands in our parents' generation. Men nowadays would rather eat takeout than make an effort to please and cherish women, and women too, would rather stay single than tolerate men. As for blind dates, once you meet someone, it feels like you have to continue developing the relationship. After meeting, you must chat. After chatting, you must connect. After connecting, naturally you need to date. After dating, you should soon get married. If you reject the person, it becomes your problem, and others will say that you have too high standards or too many demands. If you're rejected, it's still your fault, and others will say that no one wants you, and you're being too picky. No matter what, whether it works out or not, the responsibility is on you. If you go on a blind date, you're wrong. If you don't, you're also wrong. So, since that's the case, why even bother going on blind dates? It's better to just arrange the marriage directly, as simple as animal breeding. People's mindsets are now so anxious that they are even afraid of being pushed to marry by their elders and relatives when they return home for the new year. I understand that some matchmakers are in a hurry. They introduce any man they see, without caring whether his conditions match my requirements. After all, it's their job. But please don't be so hasty. I know you depend on this for your livelihood, but we women are not just products on an assembly line. We can't just be arranged without consideration. I really can't accept a man whose height, appearance, or other conditions don't match.
杭州的相亲大会，居然男生都没有去，全是女的。
Recently, a news story has caught everyone's attention. At the recent matchmaking event in Hangzhou, all the participants were women, and not a single man showed up. Upon seeing this situation, I couldn't help but think about why these single men didn't attend the matchmaking event. Moreover, there were so many single women attending. From this phenomenon, can we reflect on some deeper issues? Many netizens have expressed their opinions online, and some even humorously said that these older leftover women look like a plate of leftovers, with prices set unusually high, as if they were items already eaten by others. The idea behind this is, since there are so many single women, why aren't men going? Is it because the pressure of life is too heavy? Nowadays, men not only have to work hard to earn money to support their families but also have to take care of their parents. The pressure is so overwhelming that they simply have no time to think about relationships. So why did this matchmaking event turn into one where only women attended? Through this phenomenon, can we see the underlying causes? We need to take a more macro view of this issue. In recent years, with the popularity of the internet, various toxic motivational messages have also started to spread. Many people on the internet post what appear to be inspiring but actually have a negative influence. Isn't this phenomenon largely caused by the women themselves? Why did only women attend the matchmaking event while men didn't want to go? To put it bluntly, why are there so many single women? Is it that all the single men have disappeared? That's not the case. Instead, men are no longer willing to bear the traditional role of the provider, especially those who have been divorced. Over the past few years, many older leftover women have seen marriage as a channel to transcend social classes and seek happiness. This has put so much pressure on men. So, we see that at this matchmaking event, not a single man attended. You women go ahead and try the matchmaking yourselves. That's the message. When you think about it, this is supposed to be a matchmaking event, but in essence it's still about women looking for men, right? Now, men no longer want to participate. So, these older leftover women, who are they going to find? Why have these older leftover women remained single for so long? Isn't it because of their own actions? Isn't it because they treat men like an ATM? So, looking at this series of phenomena, we can see the essence of the issue. Men are waking up and are no longer willing to bear unnecessary pressures. Don't you find this situation laughable? I truly hope that these older leftover women and divorced women, upon seeing the situation at this matchmaking event, will realize what's going on and reflect on themselves. This is the right approach. Honestly, after watching this news, I actually feel a bit happy. This is the result of the women's own actions. Guys, do you agree?
The gender ratio in marriage parks across China has actually reached 1 man to 9 women. I was shocked when I saw this news online yesterday. At first, I thought it meant 9 men fighting for 1 woman, but when I read it, it completely overturned my worldview. I specifically consulted a friend who works at a matchmaking company, and she told me that in their area, The gender ratio is indeed close to 9 women for every 1 man. After hearing that, I couldn't believe it and immediately countered. No way. You must be mistaken. How could there be more women than men? It should be more men than women, especially since many older single people are looking for partners. There should be more men. I always thought, based on my past understanding, that it was normal for there to be more men than women in the matchmaking market. But then she told me about a male member, nearly 37 years old, who has been pressured by his family to get married. He occasionally goes to the local popular matchmaking park, and it turns out there really are more women than men. So, why is it that the matchmaking market has more women than men, yet men still refuse to go to these matchmaking events? The answer is that women's requirements are just too high. These women are constantly fed unrealistic fantasies by the media, where a rich CEO falls in love with a Cinderella. They've raised their standards so high that they won't even consider a man whose annual salary is less than 1 million yuan. I said, well, this is their own fault. With such high standards, it's no wonder they can't find a partner. Then she told me some statistics that completely shattered my understanding. She explained that nowadays, many women's requirements usually include being between the ages of 25 and 38, at least 1.75 meters tall, having a bachelor's degree, and earning a monthly salary of around 10,000 to 20,000 yuan. When I heard these requirements, I thought these standards seem reasonable. Surely there are many men who meet these conditions, right? But then she told me that Tianjin, with a population of about 14 million, has around 320,000 eligible men. According to the height requirement of 1.75 meters or taller, only about 38% of men meet that standard. Furthermore, less than 50% of men have a bachelor's degree. If you combine all these conditions, the number of men who meet all the standards might only be 300 to 400, and these men are scattered across different districts. Each district may have only 40 or 50 eligible men. It's really like finding a needle in a haystack. I thought this made a lot of sense. She then asked, why are there so few first-class seats on an airplane? And why are business-class seats so limited on trains? After talking to my friend, I think I finally understand why the gender ratio in the matchmaking market is so skewed. Because the number of men who meet the high standards of these women is really too small. It's like first-class and business-class seats. Although everyone desires them, only a few people can afford to enjoy them. What do you think about the situation in the matchmaking market where 9 women are fighting for 1 man? Feel free to leave your comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Your support is very important to us, and we will continue to bring you better content. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time.